Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to another episode, another day, and another edition of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This is one of our final episodes here. For now, we might make a return. I doubt it, though. I would say the odds of the Daily Bitcoin Journey coming back would be 8%. Wow, YouTube. YouTube hasn't showed up. One person in YouTube right now. It's funny, YouTube actually started giving me a little bit of love lately after a couple months of not. Right in time for us to depart. Oh well, fuck them. Might as well start the show with some F-bombs here. Get in the right mood. We got a fun one today. I think we're on Noster today. It appears to be working so far. So good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Noster. And good morning, Rumble. Or maybe everybody has just switched over already. No, there's still got some people. Let's see what's going on here. We got a good crew in here so far, it looks like. All right, Killer's here. By the way, this one's titled, "What if the government just shut down forever?" And I'm going to rely on you today a little bit. You out there watching. This is going to be a good one. We're going to basically go through a thought experiment of what if the government actually shut down and it never came back? What would happen? Have you ever in your life stopped to just think about that? What would happen if the government just ceased to exist? What would happen? What would play out from there? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to get we're going to get the ball rolling, and then we're going to get some feedback from the audience here, from the chat, for the pros, the cons, ideas, things like that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun one. But I just got to handle a couple things here quickly on the fly. Okay, hold on. Just give me 1 sec here. Okay. So let's get to the chat here. Let's see what's going on. Looks like Zapstream is running, which is good. So good morning, everybody over there. Killer's here. We got to change our style here. We need some navy. A little darker. I like it to match my hoodie. There we go. Am I a weirdo? Yes. Am I ashamed of that? No. Killer, Ginger, Samantha, on both. Sats and Sunsets is here. Good morning, everybody. Mikado, fun fact, when the government shuts down, the Federal Reserve does not. Ooh. What does that tell you? The Federal Reserve is not federal and they have no reserves, right? Anytime a government comes up with a name, I think it was Bitcoin Ben used to talk about this all the time. It's like whenever there's a name like non-government organization, like an NGO, it's 100% a government organization. They just think that because they name it something different, like they passed through a whole bunch of bills like that in Congress. Like what was the last one they passed when Biden was in charge there? Well, Biden wasn't really ever in charge, but you know what I mean. The Inflation Act or End Inflation Act or something, while they printed trillions of dollars. It's like whatever they name something, it's the exact opposite of, just like what they say. Always do the exact opposite of that. That's the best advice I can give you. 398 episodes in here. The best advice I can give you out of everything is that whatever the government tells you to do, just do the exact opposite of that. And you're probably going to have a pretty good life. Jake, good morning. Joshua is here. Good morning, YouTube. While it lasts, pro tip, get on Noster, eh? And it looks like Noster's here before we even let Noster know we're here. Samantha's sent a zap in already. 111 sats. Thank you, Samantha. We should tell Noster, though. We should tell Noster. What the hell? Why is it still saying that name? I thought I changed the title. All right. There we go. Letha's over there, too. Good morning, Letha. Sketchucation. Nav, the bull market is back, is it? What happened today? It's been a 16-year bull market. Oh, we're almost at 120. $120,000. Not the price of Bitcoin, but the exchange rate of Bitcoin. That's how many dollars you have to exchange right now to get one Bitcoin. $119,690 US dollars for one Bitcoin. Or another way to look at it is $1 US will get you. Let's bring this up. I absolutely love this website. One of my favorite resources here. The time chain calendar. So right now, $1 US will get you exactly 835 sats. That's the exchange. I like that. Even time chain calendar says the exchange rate. It's not the price of Bitcoin. There is no price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to reprice everything in sats. But that's the exchange rate. So 119,776 US dollars for one Bitcoin, or $1 US for 835 sats. At some point in the future, this is going to flip. Might be, I don't know, 100 years away. No, probably not even that. But at some point, it's going to be 836 US dollars for one sat. Right now, you can get 836 sats for $1 US. At some point, it's going to be 836 US dollars for one sat. Hard to imagine that. But that's the way it is. It's the way she goes. So you can see right now the subsidy in the every 10 minutes, the subsidies paid out to the miners, 3.125 Bitcoin. So that's the new, the Bitcoin aren't created. Like the cool thing about Bitcoin is that we know there's only going to ever be 21 million Bitcoin or 2.1 quadrillion sats. And that's kind of how everything is priced already, which means even though there's still Bitcoin coming onto the supply, everybody knows it is 21 million. So that's kind of how it's valued right now. But so whatever ownership you have, if you have 10 million sats out of 2.1 quadrillion sats, that's your ownership forever. It's locked in. As long as you can protect those sats, that's your ownership of the world. So we are in Epoch 4. I think the next one is going to be when? May or April of 2028. We're going to move into Epoch number 6, which means the subsidy is going to get cut in half to 1.56. And you can see that we've mined 917,382 blocks since January 3rd, 2009. And since then, oh, look at that. Look at all the nodes firing up here. Love to see that. Pretty sure when we started this channel, this was well below 20,000, which still doesn't seem like a lot. It doesn't seem like enough, but that's just kind of a reflection of where we are right now in Bitcoin. But this number's been going up big time. And there's been a lot of people running a node that weren't running a node before. Run a node. Where does that take us to? Oh. But anyways, we can see here that since the Genesis block back in 2009, the average block time has been 9 minutes and 36 seconds. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive that the target is 10 minutes and that it's been 9 minutes and 36 seconds for 16 years, almost 17 years. That's the Bitcoin code at work. There's no humans in charge. If humans were in charge, who knows what this would be? Honestly, it'd probably be like 3.6 seconds every block because humans just want things so fast, want so many transactions, no waiting, don't care about security, get it out there. But because of the way that Bitcoin is designed and the code, it's the difficulty adjustment keeps that at around 10 minutes per block. And every block, there's new Bitcoin released into the supply. Joshua, morning rumble. What up, my decentralized chums? Stay anti-woke, eh? That's right. Kachuk is here. Buck52 is here. Scotty, is this the place to get threatened with a good time? Absolutely. Killer, good reminder there, especially people on Rumble. If you don't mind, leave a little like there. It helps. It helps. We got Samantha's over in the Noster chat, and we got Pepe the Frog, who says, the USA is still the freest country in the world. You have the freedom to chemically castrate yourself. Okay. God bless the USA. Jesus. Scotty says, just want to say thanks to everyone that has been checking out my songs before we get started. And we got a new song from Scotty Boy today. I got to get that loaded up here. So yesterday we listened to Scotty's song, Be the Guy. Today we got Scotty's song, which is called Protect the Sats. And I'm guessing and hoping that tomorrow we're going to see Enjoy the Ride. Can you confirm, Scotty? And then for the 400th and final episode, we might listen to all three. I don't still know what I'm doing for that yet. I would take ideas. I would take feedback there of how and when we should do the 400th episode. Okay, let's send that. I had another one here too. Where'd that go? Or did I? Was that in drafts? No. Shit. Okay, hold on. YouTube Primal. There it is. Okay. Primal. I forget what this even was though. Oh, it was from American Huddle. Okay. Oh shit. Man, I'm just hammering buttons here. Panic. We're in panic mode, Arn. Arn's here, by the way. Everybody say hello and good morning to Arnie boy. Jeppison. I like that name. As a Bitcoiner, I feel like a hermit. It is so nice to meet fellow hermits on Noster. True. It's a pretty lonely place at this stage of the game. Okay, so we'll check these out here right away. Scotty absolutely banging tunes, man. That's right. Hey, Bill's here. Look at that, Bill. Hey, Bill, thanks for the zap last night, my friend, to Arnie Boy's wallet. A 6102 attack. This is Bill right here. This is our guy, Bill. Just dropped in to say hi. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for coming by, and thanks for all the support, my friend. It is very, very, very much appreciated. 65 Sats is here. Look at that. Look at that dog. What a picture. Oh, I love that one. Some big ears. Good listeners there, eh, Arn? Arnie knows all about that. Big ears. Arnie can pick up FM, AM, and XM with those ears. Sven says, Nasta. What is that? Can't find anything online. Am I spelling it wrong? For sure. Sven, you got to get into Noster, my friend. You got to get on there. There's lots of resources online, but it is spelled Nostr, not that way. Nostr. You're gonna have to battle a little bit, but that's part of life. It's called proof of work. Finally home. Heyo. Good morning. Finally home. Django. Wow, I haven't seen Django for a while. Bitcoin Journeyman. Good to see you, Django. Living Camper Life says, what's up, Bitcoin forever? If it's not Bitcoin, it's Chuck E. Cheese. What in the hell does that mean? What's up, Bitcoin forever? If it's not Bitcoin, it's Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, I got you. I see what you're saying. It's true. Pretty much everything except Bitcoin is fake. I would say there's about three or four things that aren't fake. Bitcoin obviously being one of them. Land, desirable land, such as farmland or oceanfront property, or like a property in the woods with fresh water running through it. Like those are scarce resources. So Bitcoin, desirable land, and precious metals to an extent. Precious metals have their flaws, though, a lot of flaws with them, but they cannot be printed. Although they do create diamonds now. They can create diamonds in a lab. Very hard to verify that it's legitimate. It's not just tungsten painted in gold or something like that. And then, of course, time. Time is our most precious and scarce asset that we have here. And everybody treats it as kind of our least scarce asset with the amount of time we waste every day on bullshit. But yes, you are absolutely right. Lauren's here. Good morning, Lauren. Sats and Sunsets, government shutdown is saving us $400 million a day. There you go. That's one pro. We're going to get to the list here right away. We should get that one. We'll put that one as first on the list here. Okay, we're going to call this spreadsheet shutdown. Okay, so that's definitely a pro. Saving 400 million per day. Pretty good. Pretty good start there, I would say. We're going to make that 21 points. Pros. Okay, so this is what I want you to start thinking about here as we kind of settle in, as we say hello to everybody. I want you to start thinking of some pros and cons if the government shut down forever. And then we're going to go through the list. We're going to talk through it. So start thinking of some, start putting some in the chat. And that's a pretty good pro. Saving $400 million per day. So I'm guessing that's on salaries for the government. Whoa. Didn't mean to do that. So I don't even know what LibreOffice this is. It's different than the normal Excel. That should work. There we go. It's kind of the same, but kind of different. Kachuk says a lot of people would die from starvation from where I'm from. Okay, so potential. We're going to talk through that too, though, as well. I feel like that's a side effect of government. The fact that people rely on them for food. Juan, ayo, long time, my friend. All looking pretty for what's coming. Yeah, no doubt. Cypher's here. Good morning, y'all. Bitcoin has officially surpassed Amazon and now the 7th largest global asset. Nice. It's pretty sad that it's even close to Amazon still, considering Amazon is a company and Bitcoin is the future reserve currency of the planet. But hey, we're early. J-Dog's here. Good morning, J-Dog. McHuddle, Inflation Reduction Act. Exactly. That's what it was. Freedom of Information Act. That's another one. Yeah, it might as well be. Scotty says, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a DCA. All right, Scotty boy. Thank you, my friend. Let's get Scotty on the board here. Scotty. Thank you, Scotty. Haven't seen you yet, but I trust you. Ginger. Yeah, the euro's still going pretty strong, hey? No, that'd be a stronger currency when you're getting more sats for it. €1, I think that's a euro, right? Got me 971 sats. 1 BTC equals 1 BTC. That is true. Sandy's here. Configuration on the Lambo website will be overloaded today. Yeah. Todd's here. Good morning, Todd. Bad Gal B. Sats and Sunsets with a blank message there. I don't know what that is. Oh, there you go. Cypher. Gifted a membership by Sats and Sunsets. You know, I might need to start putting some videos on the Rumble Premium so there's actually a benefit to being a member there. Right now, it's just like 100% support. But maybe I'll put my courses and stuff on there if people want to join that instead of like the Visionaries community. Paulie says, in what situation or use case would you sign or verify a UTXO or transaction in Sparrow? In what situation or use case would you sign or verify a UTXO or transaction in Sparrow? I'm not sure what you mean, Paulie. When you want to send Bitcoin, you have to sign your transaction. What situation or use case would you sign or verify a UTXO? Or I mean, like if you actually don't want to send it, is that what you're saying? Like to prove your ownership, you might have to do that at like the bank or something. But we're years away from that. Banks don't have a fucking clue what's going on right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like Godzilla's right outside the bank, and they're just like, yeah, coffee break. 2 people in the office, 200 offices here, but we got 2 people in here. Yep, you got to send some money. Okay, it'll be there in a couple weeks. Bitcoin? Nah, scam. Banks are fucked. But yeah, I'm guessing is that what you mean, Paulie? I don't know. Daniel says, downloading knots this morning, setting up my start 9. Good man. Good man. That's the kind of stuff that we want to see here. Speaking of that, I see some, it's the start of the month. So I see some people bought some start 9s this last month. So this is what you want to get. Either one, probably. These ones are out of stock, it looks like right now. But the server pure, that's what we're looking for. It's $100 off right now. It's on sale. I don't know why Start 9's putting their products on sale. It's like they're sold out every month. So you get $100 off. You get a free lifetime membership to Start 9 support worth $300. Pretty good. Wish all companies would do that. And then use the code 88SATS when you're ordering, discount code, and you get another $60 off. So we had a couple people in the chat last month who bought some, or bought one, not some. Thanks, Sats and Sunsets. Yes, congrats. So that must have been randomized, I'm guessing. Kev Keith is here. Duncan's here. Good morning, fellas. Scotty says, just got to decide which version, more country or more slightly rock. Ooh. Country rock is my favorite, as you might know. So that one's going to be called Enjoy the Ride. I would say that one's probably better off as a country song. But usually country songs are more like, positive than a rock song would be. Positive, uplifting, enjoy the ride. It's got to be a country song. Jake, 400th episode could be all the clips of you saying 0-hour dipshits and dipshit juice. that would take me forever to do. Loving the tunes. Yeah, me too. Plastic's here. Good morning, Plastic. Joshua says 400th episode, get Forrest and Rajat on, maybe even old. Jerry. It's a good idea. But it's kind of like, I don't know, I've done the whole thing myself, So I feel like it'd be weird having somebody else on to celebrate my 400 solo shows. It's fucking nuts. 400 shows. Can't believe that. Kachok zapped 21 sats. Hi, Jory. Here's some freedom units. Thank you, Kachok. Duncan's over there, and Duncan zapped 2.55 sats for a DCA. Thank you, Duncan. The man. Letha zapped 1,000 sats. And Matt FRL with a Tesla zap over on Noster. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Very much appreciated. Bitcoin Nurse. BitTails Ian. Wow, what a crowd today. What a crowd. Sandy says, no more bullying small countries. Okay, how should we word that one? No more bullying small countries. How about sovereignty for small countries? Yep, I like that one. Ethan, Evan, Maestro, greetings and salutations. Good morning. Hey, Crypto Princess is here. Good day, ladies and gents. Jor, hey, bro. Good morning, Crypto Princess. Ian, what the heck you doing back on YouTube? I just saw you right here on Rumble. What the heck's going on? Whoa, what's this? 1122 sats for, that's got to be pounds, right? Is that pounds? That's not euros. I think that other one was euros. Plastic says, be sovereign, be free, use cold storage, run your node, run your miner. Boom. Boom, as Jerry would say. Boom. Plastic, running Raspi Blitz and join market. Nice. Hit the likes. That's right. Especially if you're over on Rumble. Sats and Sunsets, even if you say it's on sale, if you say it's on sale, even if it isn't, you'll sell more. That's true. Good point. That's a really good point. Todd says, I'm assuming you can purchase the Start 9 on chain from the website. Yes, you can. Can definitely pay in Bitcoin. One of my favorite, if not my favorite companies out there, Start 9. Absolutely legendary company. All right. Looks like we got some fatties or something happened here. Oh, it was Josh, of course. And somebody sent in 5,000 sats last night and said, keep killing it. I don't know who that was, but whoever it was, thank you. I would guess it was Shani. If I had to take one guess, I would say Shani, but I don't know. And then Josh sent in 8,888 sats. My man. Josh, I need to message you today, by the way. Okay, we got a DCA from Todd. Thank you, Todd. Kachuk, McCoddle sent in 21. Thank you. Todd sent in 21. Thank you. Letha, Matt. Okay, I think I'm caught up here. Thanks, everybody. Good start to the show. Good start to the show. Soars is here. Good morning, Soars. Okay, well let's maybe start with Scotty's song here. How about that? Get in the mood. We ready for this? I don't know. I don't know if I am. I'm pumped. God, I absolutely love that freaking guitar. It's just such a cool. I don't know why. I might listen to that again. So what I think I'm going to do, Scotty, depending on how these other songs sound like, but I think I'm going to start putting that song at the end of my videos going forward on YouTube, because I'm still going to be posting things on YouTube with different ideas. I have a couple of ideas of where I want the channel to go here on YouTube, but I think I'm going to put that song at the end of my videos. I don't want to put it at the start, because people usually, if you don't start talking like 3 seconds, people are like, okay, fuck this guy. So I have kind of a plan. I have a plan. Actually, you know what we're going to do for the Visionaries community? One of the first things we're going to do is we're going to watch a documentary together. It's a documentary I watched recently. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because I don't want you to watch it first. But it's really cool, and I was kind of blown away. I was really interested when I first turned it on. I thought it was going to be completely something else other than what it was. But then I started watching it. I was super intrigued by it. And then at the end, they just threw like this. Actually, I'm not even going to say it. But that's one of the things we're going to do very early on in the Visionaries community, is we're going to watch it together. And we're going to talk about a couple things kind of along the way. It's going to be good. But it's also going to tie into the song at the end of the video with maybe some nuggets along the way. I'll just say that. Scotty, I can't open this. Why? It's not opening for me. Okay, let me maybe I'll repost it on Noster, and then we can find it on there pretty quickly. Scotty, where are you? Scotty. Scotty said, second song for Jore's motto. Check it out. Okay, we're going to post it. Boost. Now find Jor. Nice. I don't exist on Primal anymore. What the hell's going on? There we go. Okay, so I got to take this down. I got to share the audio. So this is Scotty's second song for our motto around here, which is what? Be the guy, which was yesterday's song. Protect the sats and enjoy the ride. And this one today is titled Protect the Sats. So let's have a listen to this one. Oh, it's got 32 plays already. Wow. Scotty's the new. Oh, hold on. There it is. Look at that. 32 plays already. Released a lot. Oh, no, this was released for a while. I don't know. Okay, here it is. Looks like pretty simple lyrics here, Scotty, but we'll see. We'll see how she goes. Ready?
Stack 'em up, never stop, need more, stay stone cold. The game is long, you need a hoe. Click, lock it down, no keys, no crown. Protect the sets, hold your keys, guard them well, to keep you free. It's on you. Protect the sets. Stack 'em up, never stop, need more, stay stone cold. The game is long, you need a hoe. Code is law, trust the chain, lose it once, feel the pain. Protect the sets, hold your keys, guard them well, to keep you free. It's on you. Protect the sets.
Wow. Scotty boy kills another one here. I like that one. That one's perfect. 1 minute and 44 seconds, shorty. Good vibe with that one. It reminds me of a song called what the hell is it called? It was from Public Enemy. Public Enemy. We used to call it Trumpets and Rap, but that wasn't the actual song. That wasn't the title of it. Public Enemy. What was that song called? Harder Than You Think. Harder Than You Think. That's what that song reminded me of. That's a great song. Well done, Scotty. I like that one. I don't know which one I like better, honestly. So Scotty's got a couple up here. This is the guitar that I like. That's a great tune. Be the Guy. Jerry said that looks like me. Kind of does, actually. From the rear. Just missing some hair, though. Maybe it's actually covered by a hoodie. Wow, look at the details on that. Scotty even put a hoodie on there. Well done, Scotty. Well done. Love that one. So we got one more to go. We got Enjoy the Ride coming tomorrow, maybe. We'll see. But that's awesome, Scotty. Thank you, my friend, for another banger there. Pretty cool. They're different sounding songs, but really unique. A really unique sound. I love that. I'm gonna have to join Suno, or Scotty, you're gonna have to upload those on like Fountain, or what's the other one called? The Bitcoin one? Frick. Brain's not working today. Brain, hello. Anybody there? What the hell is it called? Frick. All the Bitcoin Amigo songs were on there. Maybe I deleted it. What was that called now? I don't know. God, my brain's not working today. Just saying hi to everyone on YouTube, but I'm here. All right, there's Ian. Nikolai says, is Cold Card Q still good if you are new to Bitcoin? Yes, absolutely. Don't mess around with anything else. Everybody's kind of new Bitcoiners are always like, the cold cards are too difficult, too complex. They're not. The basic settings, the basic features, the setup of the cold card is pretty much identical with anyone. It's just you don't have the screen kind of walking you through things, but that's a good thing, because when you're connected to a screen that's walking you through things, that means you're connected to the internet, like a ledger or a tangent. I just don't. I like keeping it completely offline. I know that they're able to do it without actually sacrificing any security. I think. I don't know for sure though. That's my issue. So I like the cold card queue. It's the best device. I've 3 of these actually. 3 of these. A couple MK4s. I had a Foundation passport, but I locked myself out of it. Stupid idiot. Actually, I still have a couple guesses left, but I can't find the code, and I can't. Every code that I know of, something's going on with it. But anyways, the thing about that is, even if you locked yourself out, like let's say you got a cold card queue, and every time you log into it, you have to put in your PIN code. Even if you forgot your PIN code and you locked yourself out and bricked the device, that doesn't mean your Bitcoin's gone. That just means you got to get a new device. So for anybody out there who is looking for a cold card Q or a cold card MK4, I'd probably go with the Q personally. The MK4s are pretty badass. Honestly, I like them, but if I had to pick one or the other, I would probably use the Q just because they're easier to navigate on. They're much easier to like use, I find. The MK4s don't, it looks like a little wee calculator. So you have to use different buttons. Takes a while. You have to manually type in the word. If you have like a passphrase or something, you have to do it with the arrows instead of actually just typing the letter. Like the Qs have the whole keyboard there, like an old Palm Pilot. It's a thing of beauty, truly. Pro, no taxes. That's a good one. That's a big one. No taxes. Although I don't know if that's the case. That's something we got to talk through as well. No taxes? Question mark. I don't know if that's the case or not. We'll talk through that. Praetorian's here. Good morning, Praetorian. TSA and air traffic controllers have to work for free during a shutdown. This can cause delays in air travel when they stop showing up for work. More likes for Rumble, guys. This is premium, no BS signal. Yeah, what the heck, Rumble. Although we have like 50 people over in Rumble right now, which is great to see. 44, 45, 25 likes. Not bad. Not good. Sure one. Yeah, I like that one, Scotty. Cons, no Supreme Court or DOJ. Fair. No Supreme Court. The pound is $89,000. That's the exchange rate. Gotcha. Let's go, Scotty. Good morning, Timber Crasher. Morrow's here. Good morning, Morrow. Good morning, Timber Crasher, fellas. For your 400, put it all together. Me and Arnie running around the golf course. When caught, pay your fine in sats and orange pill the groundskeeper live. I mean, yeah, that'd be pretty funny, but it wouldn't work very well because funny thing is like I take Arnie on the golf course all the time with us for golf, and I know the groundskeeper really well. Like he's been the groundskeeper here since I was a kid, so him and I get along really well. And anyways, we had Arnie out on the course one day, and they put out these signs on the golf course that said, because all these dipshits were eating sunflower seeds and like leaving on the tee boxes and leaving on like the greens. Like it's probably the most disrespectful thing you can do on the golf course, other than like drive on the greens with a quad or something like that and tear them up. So anyways, he put out the groundskeeper put out these signs saying sunflower seeds are for the golf or for the ballpark. Keep them off the golf course. Anyways, we were out there one day with Arnie, and we came up to the tee box with one of these signs, and somebody had written "no dogs" on the sign. Just no dogs. Underneath, like on the sunflower seed sign, no dogs. So obviously they were talking about Arnie, because I think he's the only dog that's out there. I don't think anybody else takes their dog out there. So I was like, what a, people just get so butthurt by the stupidest things. which is classic. Like I told you the story about how that guy almost fought Drake and I when we were on the Bitcoin golf tour filming there. They almost fought. People get so butthurt about golf stuff. So anyway, somebody wrote no dogs with a permanent marker on the sign. And then I came back next week to golf and the sign had been replaced by the groundskeeper. So the groundskeeper is he takes his dog out there all the time too. Like he has to go out there at crazy hours of the night, like to do watering, to turn on the pipes, get the irrigation system going. So he's out there like crazy hours in the morning. So he has a dog out there too. He loved dogs. He was the one who said I could have Arnie on the golf course. So some dipshit out there is like no dogs on the course. And then the groundskeeper took off the sign and put a new one on there as if like dogs are allowed. So it's kind of cool. That was a really nice move by him. Felt it would be good to get a bit of variety. Agreed. Looking in fountain shouldn't be too hard. Yes, Wave Lake. That's what it was. Thanks, Scotty. VHF. The Wanted Man. The Wanted Man, VHF. Man, I was dying at that last night, VHF. You got to get back in there, though, man. You got to send Jerry an email and say, I'm sorry. We like having you in there. Stripes, a little late today, but good morning to everyone. Good morning, Wave Lake. There it is right there. Thanks, Duncan. Did not get a notification this morning. Okay, there's the Rumble. Yes, I need a cold card queue. Yeah, everybody does. Everybody should have at least 3. Maestro says, my bro and I can turn bottles into sats. Fun way to build a side stack. Yeah, that's what we do here too. We take all the beer cans, all the bottles. The nice thing is like here in my province, they don't do that. They take like beer cans and beer bottles, but not anything else. But in Saskatchewan, they take everything. So you could have like Diet Coke cans, bottles, wine bottles, I believe, everything. They take everything there. So we take bags into the city and turn those into sats too. It's pretty good. It's going to turn out to be a good decision. Morrow says, does passport brick after certain tries or just get wiped? That's a good question. I guess I could just ask AI that because I've kind of just been waiting. I still have 3 or 4 more guesses, but yeah, if it just wipes itself, then I should just do that. It's a good question. Good question there, Morrow. Because I would hate to lose that. That's a good device. Foundation sent it to me actually for free, so I wasn't too mad about it, but that'd be nice. I'm pretty sure cold card bricks itself, which is how it should be in my opinion. So it'd be probably better if they did. Big picture, but for me, I'd rather just wipe itself. Santino. Good morning. Morrow says the groundskeeper is ungovernable. Yes, that's right. He is. He's a good guy. VHF, that shit was funny. It was hilarious. I was dying. Jerry's had a couple run-ins lately. I want to have some of those. I want somebody to, actually, I've had a couple of those, but nothing too crazy. The passport bricks itself after 21 failed attempts. Shit. So yeah, I guess I'm out of luck. Logan says the seed signer works completely offline too. Yes, that is a good point. Okay, so I did have one thing to share today, but I don't know if we're gonna have time. We're running out of time here. Just give me 1 sec here. Give me 1 sec. Oh yeah, we're back. Back like we never left. Arnie, how do you feel? We only got 2 more episodes left after this one. How do you feel about that, Arnie? Doesn't care. Doesn't give a shit. Put that up there, though. That's the lightning address. Shout out to everybody who's been sending a couple zappies in this morning. What do we got here? Average Geo just sent in a zap. 321 said, what did they say? I feel like Jor with morning meetings affecting the live. Average Geo, yes, that's right. Meetings get in the way, and I got a meeting in 26 minutes from now. But anyways, Plural Zap 33, stay stone cold. Yes, thank you, Plural. And Samantha, what does Samantha say here? 1,111 sats. I'm really not feeling well. Have to miss the end of the live, most likely. Peace. All right, no problem, Samantha. Thank you for the support. Hopefully you feel better, and you can watch it after if you want to. You might want to. We're gonna have a good chat here, I think. So let's get to that right now, actually. So I have to email you for a We Are Right About Bitcoin hoodie. Can you just put me down and I'll e-transfer you? Yeah, we could do that. I've only accepted sats for them historically, but might be able to do it. Sats are definitely preferred though. Kachuk says, Jor, have you heard of our Bitcoin a sat for your thoughts? No. What does that mean? What does that mean? Plural says it's interesting to see how many people are vocal about the problems in the world but are unaware of Bitcoin and how it can help. Yeah. No shit. That's the funny thing is like, if people just knew that literally every problem we have in society is because of the money, because people out there have the ability to print money. Henry Ford said if people knew how the monetary system worked, there would be a revolution by morning. I'm not set up to send sats yet. Well, I mean, the reason why I like accepting Bitcoin is because then I don't have to like have my full name anywhere. You know, that's like kind of the benefit of Bitcoin. This is very anonymous. You don't have to put in your name or your anything like that. So just for that reason, I try to very much limit the amount of people who send me money via PayPal or e-transfer, shit like that. Kachuk, subreddit of Bitcoin haters. Oh no, I don't give a shit about that. They'll be Bitcoiners one day. Why no love for the Jade anymore, Jor? I don't know. Jades are fine. They're not the best, but they're fine. You know, I helped probably 3 or 4 people within like a month get set up on a Jade. And that was kind of the last time, honestly. Maybe it's because I stopped talking about it. But anyways, I found it very difficult actually to set up compared to the cold card. Mostly because we had so many issues with the QR code. The Jades are like this big and you have to scan it. So unless you have like a really good webcam, it's really difficult for that thing to actually scan itself. And you have to like type out a QR code. You have to draw it out. The whole process just seemed really excessive, we'll say. It took way too much time. So I like the cold card. Plus, you know, Adam Back he's been kind of on the side of Core, which, you know, everybody should make their own decision with that. But I think that Core 30 is a problem. So I don't know. I'd still recommend people use them, but it's like, why? If you have a Jade already, like you're obviously safe. I'm not saying that there's any security risks or anything like that. Like you're good. But if you're in the market for a device, I would rather see somebody buy a cold card. What app do you use for sat sending? I mean, you could send it from an exchange. Exchanges are probably the best way to do it because then you don't have any connection back to you. You could send it directly from an exchange. You could send it from an exchange to like an Aqua wallet and then send to me from there. There's a lot of different things you can do. Nav said, have you heard or read the book, The International by Henry Ford? I can't say the full title. No, I haven't. Henry Ford also suggested energy-backed currency. Yeah, back in the early 1900s. Kachuk says, I got into a debate with my brother earlier today about how problems could be solved with Bitcoin. He said it doesn't help those that don't understand the tech for us in third world country. Well, I mean, just think about that statement there. He said it doesn't help those that don't understand the tech. Okay, so what's the solution to that? Understand the tech. Like Bitcoin's made for third world countries. If that's your outlook, if that's your perspective, then that's your problem. Bad Gal B, Jade camera sucks so hard to scan. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't have a good experience with that. Put me down for a large black hoodie and I'll figure out how to pay you in sats. My man. All right. Large black. We are right about Bitcoin. Gotcha. Jade works great when you draw your QR code bigger. Yeah, but it's not that. That's not the problem. It's when you have to try to scan it on your Jade when you're like sending a transaction, because you don't scan your sheet when you're sending a transaction. But when you're signing a transaction, you have to scan your Jade and the screen is like that big. People too poor to buy a phone. Well, then that's it's not Bitcoin's fault though. That's fiat's fault, actually. The fact that a third world country was basically extorted and exploited by the US dollar fiat currency. That's the reason. That has nothing to do with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's trying to solve that problem. So look up the title, The International Something. Ford was way ahead of the curve. Absolutely was. Anyone updated their queue yet for its new features? I haven't, but I'm going to. I actually got I got a fresh one here, unopened. So I'm kind of going to be using this one as my like test cold card. I'm going to do some walkthroughs on the cold card, like things that I use, some tricks, things like that. I'm going to do a full setup on here, like a guide, and that's going to be on the Visionaries School community. So part of that, Duncan, is I'll actually update the firmware on this too to have the new features. Literally no electricity on some real parts. Yeah, Bitcoin should solve that too, because with Bitcoin you can actually set up remote. You can set up remote infrastructure, because that's a whole rabbit hole. That's a whole rabbit hole to go down, of how Bitcoin helps that, which I've talked about plenty of times. But Sabian works perfect for me. I guess my camera's a good one. Yeah, if you got a good camera. Whitelist sounds awesome. I agree. That's a great feature. Okay, let's get to this here. I want to talk this through. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's here it is. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna take this off for now. So as we know, the US government shut down this week. And I kind of started thinking about it, of what would happen if the government just stayed shut down forever. Because listening to both sides of the story, I don't really care who's right, who's wrong, why it's happening. I don't give a shit personally. But I think it's an interesting thought experiment to play out what exactly would happen if the government shut down and it never came back operational again. So just think about that. Like, think about your country. I know the US is probably different than somebody in, Africa or Russia, something like that. Let's focus on just like whatever country you're in. What would it look like if the government just shut down and ceased to exist? I think the first thing that would happen, as I was kind of playing through this in my head, and I'm hoping to get some feedback here from the chat along the way, with ideas, with thoughts, with pros and cons. We got a little list that started here from a couple comments so far, but we're going to add to it. So just think about it. Just put yourself in that situation where the government shut down and it's not coming back. Think about it. Probably the first thing that would happen would be chaos. There'd be a lot of people out there who have been waiting for a time like this, and they would probably go bananas. But I don't think it would last very long. I think that people would, like, let's say I'm just going to use the Canadian government here as an example. Let's say that the Canadian government ceased to exist, stopped operations, done. And by the way, this was a theory that, let me bring this up here quickly, because this is something to think about too. There's a book called The Sovereign Individual that came out in the 90s. And they predicted that governments, what the heck is going on here? That centralized governments would eventually cease to exist. So it says the core thesis of The Sovereign Individual is that technological advances, especially in microprocessing, cryptography, and digital networks, will drastically undermine the power of centralized nation states and empower individuals like never seen before. As individuals gain unprecedented autonomy and the ability to move assets and economic activity beyond the physical reach of governments, the nation state will lose its historical dominance over citizens. So that's the thesis. And that was predicted kind of as the internet was starting to catch on in the mid 90s. I think the book was written in the early 90s, but this was when the internet first started coming out. And this is what the thesis was, is that eventually centralized nation states will be gone because the internet and cryptography and microprocessing will enable unprecedented autonomy and the ability to move assets and economic activity beyond the physical reach of governments. So the book argues that the rise of information technology will make it easier for individuals to protect wealth. This was before Bitcoin. And conduct transactions globally beyond state control. Severely weaken government's ability to tax, regulate, and exert force, since assets can be hidden digitally and people can move for better services and lower taxes. This will force governments to compete for residents and capital by offering desirable services, similar to how companies compete for customers, leading to more privatized, decentralized models of governance. So I shared a video on the channel about a week ago now, Arnie and me. I forget which episode it was, but that's essentially what I talked about. I said, Bitcoiners are going to be very in demand. Oh, it was based on a conversation I was having with a woman in the States. Oh my gosh, look at this. That scared the shit out of me. Man, I'm going to have nightmares from that today. Lucky. So anyways, the point was, is we were talking about moving, getting different passports. And I said, eventually the governments, I think, are going to stop having so much power. Governments are going to realize the economic influence that Bitcoiners have because of the capital that they have. And they're actually going to want people to come to they might start giving out free citizenships to anybody who has X amount of sats. Because why wouldn't you there? That's the last part here. Force governments to compete for residents and capital by offering desirable services, similar to how companies compete for customers, leading to more privatized, decentralized models of governance. So the decline of the nation state. The authors predict that as these trends accelerate, the citizen relationship to government will end, and individuals will become customers of different government entities, able to exit and choose jurisdictions freely. Smaller competitive jurisdictions, like city-states or digital enclaves, will outperform large centralized states, which will struggle under the weight of unfunded liabilities and declining revenues. Right? Because going back to this part up here, the government's ability to tax, regulate, and exert force, since assets can be hidden digitally and people can move. So that's the thesis there, is that eventually, because of the privacy and the ability that we now have because of things, not things like Bitcoin, because of Bitcoin, we can transact privately. And when you can transact privately, are you sending money to the government, especially when they're acting the way that they are right now? Probably not. So that means that their revenues are going to go down, which means that bigger countries with a lot of liabilities like healthcare, military aid, social security, interest on debt. That's what we're seeing right now. And when this book was written, the government's probably had like $2 trillion worth of debt. Oh, Lucky's going absolutely wild out there right now. So imagine if this book was written now, what with Bitcoin, with more liabilities, with more debt owed. What the hell is happening here? He's even got Arnie stirred up now. But anyways, loyalty to nation or nationalism will weaken while personalized governance and new economic models based on individual choice will rise. So it says the model anticipates significant upheaval as old political and social norms dissolve, potentially producing disorder and new forms of risk as traditional structures fail. A cognitive elite or class of highly capable sovereign individuals is forecast to thrive, leveraging global mobility and technology, while those tied to the old system may face instability. Ultimately, the commercialization of sovereignty transforms the relationship between state and individual, replacing politics with market-driven governance. In summary, the sovereign individual predicts the collapse of a centralized nation-state as digital tools radically shift economic, political, and social power to sovereign individuals, forcing all government, if it endures, to become voluntary and competitive. Wow. Doesn't that make sense? And again, this was written before Bitcoin. This was written before the government in the US went $38 trillion into debt. They were talking about like $1 or $2 trillion worth of liabilities at that time that they expect would never be paid off back in the 90s. Fast forward 30 years, and all of a sudden that 2 trillion turned into 38 trillion, and things are just in shambles right now. So I think that this theory is going to be proven correct. I don't know how long it's going to take. We're obviously living, there's some cracks and fractures in the system right now, and there obviously was back in the 90s. If they even wrote this book and went down this road, there was cracks back in the 90s, and just think about how much has happened since then. So when I play this out in my own head, just think about your own life and what would be affected by it. So I think that chaos would ensue for a little while. There'd be a very small group of people, I think, that would just want to go crazy because they know that they won't be punished for anything that they do. So I think the cities would be in a lot of trouble. I think cities would be a nightmare. I think people would be fleeing the cities right off the hop. I think about my own place right now. I think that what would happen, and this is assuming that communications are still online, which I don't know if that would be the case or not. But I would think that smaller towns, they would call like a town meeting. And they would say, okay, well, the government's gone. We're no longer getting funded by this or that. And so what are we going to do? What would be impacted there? What would be the solution to that? I'm guessing that, especially here in Canada, the number one thing would be healthcare. The hospitals would be chaos for a while. I'm guessing the hospitals would probably lock their doors just because there'd be so much chaos, essentially. There'd be people banging down I'm guessing like it would just be insane. But again, that's in the cities. But what would happen? Let's say that somebody got injured, they got shot, something. What would happen, do you think? Well, eventually, I think that doctors and nurses and anybody with the ability to help people, I'm guessing they would just kind of start doing it for free off the start. Like humans, most humans are good people. And so if there was somebody who was trained in first aid or in healthcare and they saw somebody that was injured, I think that they would just go help them. And eventually, after the chaos is over, after a lot of buildings have probably burned down, I think that people would start to organize themselves. I think that smaller towns would start to organize. They'd say, okay, we're going to dedicate this building to a doctor's office. and we're going to have security out there. Who pays for it? Maybe every citizen has to pay like $500 or something right off the hop just to get things off the ground. Because I think that eventually the thesis here is that once the government's funding and stuff stops, again, eventually I think it would be kind of chaos, but eventually people would kind of figure it out themselves. So it would no longer be based on who the government wants to allocate their capital to. It would be who's actually in the most demand. So a lot of people, kind of going back to like our first thing here, which was we'd save $400 million in taxes. Where was that here? $400 million a day in taxes. So it would no longer be the government subsidizing things. It would basically be market driven, which means that if you can pay eventually, right? Like, again, it would probably start out as them just wanting to help voluntarily because humans are good people. And then eventually people would organize, and then you'd have to pay something if you wanted healthcare, which makes sense. And somebody mentioned here the potential starvation. If the government's no longer funding food stamps and funding people to sit on their ass all day, and I'm not saying that everybody who's on government assistance is lazy. I'm not saying that, but there are a lot of people that are. I don't think anybody would argue with me there. There's a lot of people out there who have just soaked the system because they can, because it's there. All of a sudden you get that cut off. You got to figure it out. That's what the free market is. If you're not providing value to the world, you're not going to get anything in return for it. That's a natural state of a free market. And so I think about this in my own head. It would be chaos off the start, but eventually people would start to organize themselves. And then you'd have a free market of citizens. And if you want to pay for something, you have to produce something. If you want to receive some value that you can spend on things, you actually have to produce something for somebody. So that could be like an example of this. I know this is kind of like you could go in a million different directions with this, but let's just go back to that example of a town, a community getting together and saying, okay, this is going to be our dedicated doctor's office. We're looking for a couple security guards to keep out the nonsense. We're going to pay them to do that. So people would go to work to guard the doctor's office, probably the biggest guys in town, probably have some guns, so nobody's fucking around. And they would pay them. So they would be adding value by being security for the doctor's office. The doctor would obviously get paid by people who can afford it. And maybe a portion of maybe anybody who wanted to donate for people who can't afford healthcare right off the hop, they could do that. But people would organize themselves. Like, we no longer need the government for anything. Tell me one thing that would change if the government just cease to exist in like 20 years from now. I know short term there'd be some chaos, but like in 20 years from now, if the government was over, what would we be missing? Think about that. What is the government providing right now that humans couldn't figure out on their own? The government used to be able to take in funds from citizens and kind of allocate that. This is only for the last 100 years. Like before the early 1900s, there was no income tax. Governments were much smaller. They were working for the people instead of vice versa. But it's just turned into this fat, bloated, corrupt nonsense, stealing every single day from citizens instead. And so eventually people figured out, and eventually people stopped sending them money because they're like, well, we have people here starving on the streets, but you're sending the majority of our money to other countries. That makes no fucking sense. So that's the whole thesis here, is that people eventually just stop. And so I want you to think about that. What would change in your life if there was no federal government in a decade from now? What are they providing to you that's vital, that couldn't be done without them? And again, they used to take in resources and they used to figure out how to allocate them. They used to make payments. They used to subsidize things. But like, that's what led us to this point. Them being able to create money, them being able to decide who gets what portion of it and who doesn't. And it's bullshit. It's total bullshit. So I'd say the pros, there's lots of pros, and I'm running out of time here, unfortunately. But the pros would be obviously increased sovereignty for citizens. The pros would be, I mean, no tax is a big one. Imagine what you could do in your life if you didn't have to pay taxes. But then again, like this is what would happen. People would organize. There'd be, like, let's say a highway, there's a big hole in the highway, which now the government would go and fix. There'd be 10 people standing around, there'd be one person fixing it. But what would happen in a world without a government? Well, they'd probably say, okay, people would get together, they'd say, which farmer or which person has equipment to do this job? And we'll go out, we'll pay you. We'll set up a contract with you. You fix it. And every person that travels on that road for the next 5 years, they're going to pay you 10 cents. And now with things like Bitcoin, you could just have a thing there, a QR code you scan, send 10 sats in, the gate opens up, and you travel on that road. And maybe you find one maintainer for that road in your local area, and that's who's kind of responsible for that road. Like, people would figure this shit out. With technology, with the abilities that we have now, people would figure this shit out. It wouldn't take very long. And no Supreme Court. That, we'd have to figure something out with that. That is a big one. But again, even if you look at what the Supreme Court has done and how the whole process is now, like, it's all corrupt. It all just needs to be fucking blown up and started from scratch, which I hope is going to happen here. Potential starvation. So again, this is only because people are used to relying on the government. If the government didn't exist anymore and they couldn't rely on them anymore, they would figure it out themselves. They'd say, hey, I got to go find somebody to work for. Maybe I go work for the guy who's building the roads now. And no Supreme Court, I mean, I don't know how you do that one. But one thing you could do is, like, with the technology that we have now, you'd get together and you say, okay, we're going to nominate somebody to be the judge and the jury. And this is going to be our constitution. We're going to rewrite the laws here. This is what, it's going to be much simpler than it is right now. If you looked at the laws and everything, there's so many bullshit. Like, the more money you have now, the less you have to worry about the laws, which isn't how it should be. Right? Like, they say nobody's above the law. That's bullshit. So the Supreme Court, I mean, has done its job, I guess. But I really think that we could do something better than that as well. I mean, Bitcoin worked. Bitcoin's essentially a constitution. That's what the Bitcoin white paper is. People follow that. There's no humans involved with that. It's just consensus. It's code. Decentralized, that cannot be changed, that cannot be altered, regardless of who's paying who. So overall, I know I kind of ran out of time here and I didn't have time for all the pros and cons, but more so than anything, I just really wanted to give you something to think about, because I shouldn't say everybody, people here are probably celebrating the fact that the government's shut down, but most people are so worried about it. And it's like, people aren't dumb. People are smart. People are good. We have the technology now that basically makes the government obsolete. They push too hard and they haven't really provided anything for us. And when you play this thing out and say, okay, well, what happens if the government doesn't exist? Try to come up with something that the government actually does for you. It's a good thought experiment. So think about this today if you have some time. So anyways, that's what we got today. I'm sorry I kind of went, I'm 3 minutes late for the meeting, so I got to hit the road here. Tomorrow's Fats App Friday. I'm going to be figuring out how to jam the last 2 episodes into this in the next couple of days. But anyways, have yourselves a great day. Thank you once again, everybody, for the support. I know I kind of waited too long to do that. Story of my life. But anyways, thanks once again. Appreciate it. Sats and Sunset zapped 777. Thank you, Sats and Sunsets, for lucky. Freaking lucky. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back here tomorrow for Fats App Friday. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.